NFC West Roundtable, a weekly live show featuring top-tier insight and analysis on all things NFC West from the best creators in the division, including Los Angeles Rams creator Jake, San Francisco 49ers creator Jesse, Seattle Seahawks creator Brandon, and Arizona Cardinals creator Mike. Catch the NFC West Roundtable every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern on the NFC West Roundtable YouTube channel. Is up, NFC West football fans, and welcome into another edition of the NFC West Roundtable. Sorry we're a little bit late to start the stream. Each and every one of us were trying to get our bids in on Max Crosby, who all of a sudden is back available. On tonight's episode, we'll talk about that and all the craziness we've seen gone down over the last week as NFL free agency has kicked off. We are now 2 full days into it, and you could argue this division had the most craziness go on, or tons of moves going on in this division. We'll talk about all of them tonight for each and every single team. Cannot wait to dive into it. So without further ado, let's bring in the fellas. Brando, Mike, Jake, and Jesse. Max Crosby back on the table. And Brando, I saw your face light up. We know how much money the Hawks have to spend. They haven't gotten crazy active to start free agency here. So I guess we got to start with what is breaking news here. If you're just tuning in, or obviously you're just tuning in, we just started. But if you're just getting on your computer or your phone and you haven't seen, the Ravens, a couple of days ago, they're trading 2 first-round draft picks to the Raiders for Max Crosby. That trade null and void due to what seems to be issues with a physical. I'll shoot it to you, Brando, because I know this was somebody you were eyeing. Obviously, the Hawks have the money to spend, regardless of what you're hearing about the physical. Are you back in on trying to acquire Max Crosby now that he's available?
Yeah, the man plays 15 to 17 games every year of his career. I give Max Crosby for 15 to 17 games, the demon that he is. I'll take that in a heartbeat. And what's even better about this is that you're not paying the prices you were paying just a couple of days ago, because there's a lot of teams that have now pivoted in a different direction, like Dallas, who's gone to Rashawn Gary. They don't have the kind of cap space when you look at where they stand to do this outside of coming back to Green Bay and going, yeah, guys, I mean, we really don't want to go back to Max. And now one team's actually failed is physical. So who's wanting to jump in that pool now? And I think with John in the past, he's shown a history of not being hesitant due to something that might be, minor, like a degenerative knee. I mean, how bad is that really in the modern age? You just got to go to Switzerland, right? A couple of shots and you're good to go. But Ernest Jones was the last guy that we really took this risk on. A guy that, for a lot of reasons, that maybe why he wasn't able to kind of stick in there with the Rams and the Tennessee Titans to a degree, we took that risk on him. It's paid off big time to the tune of an all-pro season. Let's play this music again.
And you mentioned it, the price just went down, unarguably. And with the amount of spending that the Raiders just did, they were dropping bags all over the place, including resetting the center market by 2x. They're in some trouble. Got to think they're going to move Max Crosby to the highest bidder. That bid is going to be less than what the Ravens had on the table just a couple of days ago with that trade being off the table. All right, let's talk about what's going on in this division. Maybe this time next week we're talking about Max Crosby being in this division, but let's talk about who is actually in this division now. Let's start with the LA Rams, who really kicked things off last week. It's Jake, every time the Rams make a move, I am immediately brought back to that age-old article where it's the demise of the Rams was essentially predicted by all of these GMs, the down year they have after winning the Super Bowl, and then they would just go on to, of course, become one of the best teams in football immediately after that. The Rams do not care about their first-round picks, and I feel like they have become the poster child for how to operate in the offseason, because if you want to be a great team, do you not think you'd follow the model of what great teams do? The Rams get rid of their first-round draft picks like they're nothing. They do so yet again. Trent McDuffie is now an L.A. Ram, and they didn't stop there. They also acquire Jalen Watson. I think many people would agree that if the Rams had to get one thing right this offseason, it was the back end of their defense. They wasted no time. So, Jake, dive in. Talk to me about those moves and more. How are you feeling? Because I know you had mentioned you thought this was a possibility, but now that it's a reality, and that is, of course, in regard to Trent McDuffie, how do you take it all in? What do you make of it? And are you excited about the moves the Rams made?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, and I am not going to change my stance just because he's a Ram. I wouldn't have done the Trent McDuffie trade. Reason being, I think Jamel Dean kind of showed us. I mean, if I knew I could get Jamel Dean and Jalen Watson for just under $32 million a year for those two, I would have done that. I felt like those were the two best guys on the market, or at least one of the two best guys, or two of the best guys on the market. But now that Trent McDuffie is a Ram, I have to imagine that they have a legitimate plan here. And I think that's really going to pan out. And they already have, inked him to a deal and everything to make him the richest cornerback in NFL history, which will soon be passed by plenty. I mean, you got Christian Gonzalez and Devin Witherspoon. But, I feel really good about this because I think this signals that the Rams could be moving away from that bend, don't break defense. And I understand why they did it before, but I do think Chris Shula, and he's shown this. I mean, people are going to laugh, but I mean, with Emmanuel Forbes and Akella Witherspoon, he's shown that he's wanted to play some more man coverage. And I think you can do that now with Watson and, of course, McDuffie. One thing about Jalen Watson, he is so talented and so underrated. And I think the biggest thing that the Rams were looking for with their cornerbacks is guys that have that quick downhill trigger that can make plays in the run game, that can actually tackle, not really worry about that. But also they can be utilized in that blitzing game. You saw it in the Super Bowl. You saw it against Brock Purdy. Okay, you can send Jalen Watson and you can force his hand, and now Trent McDuffie's able to make a great play in the end zone. Both of those guys can blitz. Both of those guys can tackle. Both of those guys can cover man-to-man. Both were under a 75 target passer rating in man coverage this past year. And you already have in my opinion, this is a much better looking defense than what they had in Kansas City last year. So the pass rush is better. The safeties are comparable, if not better. Going out and bringing back Cam Curl was a big part of this. You re-signed Quentin Lake in the middle of the season. So this secondary just basically they said the safeties, you passed the test, the corners, they upgraded in a big way. Hardly anybody, I don't think anybody played over 75% of the snaps in a game for, at cornerback. So these are going to be guys that you can leave out there. And then you have Emmanuel Forbes, who's a talented player who can be your third or fourth corner. So I love what they did. I know a lot of people are complaining, especially Rams fans are complaining that they haven't done more. But I'm just going to say this. Look, they don't have a lot of needs. I still, I said it going into this past year. I said this is the best iteration of the Rams, under Sean McVay. I could very well be saying that after the draft this year. Right now, the Rams have an eye on wide receiver potentially in the draft. I'm sure they would have, gone after a guy like Romeo Doubs or, Jennings, but the market right now just doesn't really feel good for them. They're not willing to spend that much money on a third receiver, and that much money on a receiver that they don't think is worth that much money. So I don't know if they're going to make another move at receiver. I do know they're looking at backup quarterback. With all that going on, but you look at the offensive line, they're all returning. You have the most efficient running back room in the NFL last year. You have the MVP quarterback. You have the number one red zone threat with Devontae Adams, coupled by, in my opinion, the best receiver in the league in Puka Nacua. Tight end room that now with Tyler Higbee back, all those guys, they combined for 19 touchdowns touchdowns receiving last year. And really, I never really had a huge issue with the defense. It just came down to the stretch where it was like, yeah, remember when I ranted about how great the cornerbacks were? Well, they didn't play at that level in the second half of the season. I don't think it's crazy to say that. So I'm feeling really good about where the Rams are at. I know they'll make some other moves. I'm not expecting giant splash moves, but I do expect them to utilize, whether it's taking that 13th overall pick and spending it on a receiver or trading down. I think the Rams are in a great position. It's because they went out and they basically imported the Kansas City Chiefs cornerback room.
Let's go to the team that's trying to get back into the mix in the NFC West. That is the Arizona Cardinals, and they got off to a good start this free agency, kind of adding a smorgasbord of players here, a guy in all the major categories. You get a guard, a running back, a D lineman, and a wide receiver. The one thing the Cardinals haven't done is overpaid on a quarterback, so they're kind of doing all things right now. Mike, sorry you missed out on Geno Smith to the chagrin of Brando. My Bills have the pleasure of playing him twice a year. Yet again, Geno Smith makes his way back to East Rutherford. Let's talk about who made their way.
Tour.
I saw a meme earlier. It was like a Simpsons meme. The car is rolling down the hill, and Homer falls out of the car, falls back into the car, then the car falls off the cliff, and the comment was Geno Smith's career path. So he's back to where he started, and maybe it'll be better this time around in New York. I somewhat doubt it. We're looking to see if the Cardinals will be better this upcoming year. Mike, talk to me about the additions made here with Arizona. Are you liking what you're seeing so far a couple of days into free agency?
I mean, I guess let me start off with saying, oh, shucks, Geno Smith. Oh, man, I really wanted him. No, I mean, honestly, I'm glad that the Jets, and here, the Jets are so weird, man. Like, whatever, it is a Jets. Yeah, I mean, for the Arizona Cardinals, we did address a few different holes. Like, it's so weird because, like, you think you kind of get a gauge on what this Arizona Cardinals organization is going to do. And we had a good amount of money. Now, even before free agency, I did predict that the Arizona Cardinals were going to, release James Conner. They didn't do that. Sean Murphy-Bunting, they didn't do that. Instead, they actually revised their deal, which is pretty okay, right? I mean, you get a veteran with Sean Murphy-Bunting, and you bring back James Conner, one of the hardest runners, and if he can stay healthy, he's a really good running back still. Now, obviously, his age is up there, but let's see what the Cardinals decide to do. I was excited to see maybe the Arizona Cardinals were going to make some sort of big splash move this year, but they didn't end up doing that. They ended up retaining Blake Gillikin, which I'm a fan of. They brought back LJ Collier, which is a former first-round pick, but he's just signing one-year deals to stay with the Arizona Cardinals to be depth. That's all really he is at this very point, very moment. And then you also got Chad Ryland, our kicker, as well. But the new guys that ended up coming in, the most intriguing guys that the Arizona Cardinals brought in was probably the guard, Isaac. $5 million. The Arizona Cardinals right now need a lot of help at O-line, right? I know we had this conversation last week when everybody was talking about O-line. I was like, oh yeah, I'll take that guy. Yeah, that guy too. Yeah, that guy too. Everybody in there, anybody who plays O-line will take. Like, the Arizona Cardinals are so depleted in the offensive line. So I'm glad that the Cardinals ended up bringing in Isaac Sumalo. I feel like he's going to be the best acquisition so far and the highest paid acquisition so far, because before that it was Tyler Algier. Now I'm actually really intrigued with the whole Tyler Algier move for the Cardinals. I'm not sure if they're going to be a 1-2 punch with James Conner. I'm excited about that. Now, of course, he was the number one running back with Atlanta until they ended up going after Bijan Robinson. And then they made the shift on over, but he was equating to about 30% of the snaps. But he did pretty solid. I mean, what is it, like 500 and changed yards on the ground, and then 8 touchdowns. So maybe he's gonna get any opportunity here with the Arizona Cardinals. He signed a 2-year deal, about $6 million in change APY. And then we brought back a familiar face in Roy Lopez. He was here with the Arizona Cardinals, spent some time with the Lions, played pretty solid. I'm not going to come out here and say all pro or anything like that, but we're bringing back a familiar face to hopefully stop the run in the middle of the line. And then we ended up getting a wide receiver number 3, which honestly I do believe is probably the best wide receiver 3 we had in a very long time, Kendrick Bourne. So I'm not excited about it. It almost kind of feels like the whole Zay Jones signing that we ended up bringing back a couple years back, but I do believe that Kendrick Bourne's better than Zay Jones, and now we're moving off the whole Greg Dortch experiment. He's going to be a wide receiver 3. Let's call it like it is. It's a 2-year deal as well. The one that didn't kind of make sense is Gardner Minshew. Obviously the stash is cool. I like the vibes, but it was just a weird signing. And so the 1-year deal, $5.75 million, but worth up to close to $8 million. Now, big kind of debate going on right now with the Arizona Cardinals is the Cardinals are tanking, right? Now, when you're looking at these moves, it feels like the Cardinals are tanking. Like, it doesn't feel like the big splash moves are out there. We've opened up money like north of over close to 60, like $55 million if we were to give some sort of estimate, right? There's not really been a big move out there for the Arizona Cardinals that they've made so far. Now, they're being patient. Who knows exactly what the Arizona Cardinals are going to do? But I mean, overall, the Cardinals did okay. I mean, I would say probably middle of the line. I mean, they filled up holes, they filled up needs, but this just kind of goes with what the Arizona Cardinals have been doing under the Monty Austin-Fort regime. So we also signed another guy earlier today, an offensive lineman, Matt Pryor, but he's just depth, right? That's all it is. So although I like the acquisitions for the Arizona Cardinals, and did we get better? I feel like we got a smidge better, especially with the Samoalu acquisition. Tyler Algier's intriguing, but other than that, it's been okay. I mean, it's fine. It's an okay free agency class for the Arizona Cardinals. I was expecting at least something splashy, something big for Monty Austin-Fort, because obviously the question marks out there surrounding the organization is that Monty's fighting for his job. This doesn't really feel like Monty Austin-Fort's fighting for his job, so I don't exactly know how this is going to transpire. But overall, I thought it was a pretty okay class for the Cardinals. I'm just excited to get this 2026 season started.
I like what the Cardinals are doing real quick. I just want to throw this out there. I free agency to me is not, you don't go and own free agency and that's how you win long term. I think they've put a lot of effort through the draft into that defensive line. Now, obviously, some of those guys haven't fully panned out, but you give it one last year to figure it out for some of them. And I think you guys have gotten some good little pieces that plug some much needed spots to kind of keep things rolling for you guys this year and build into the future. I actually like what the Cardinals have done.
Well, they take Kendrick Bourne off your hands, by the way.
Can I just
Brando?
echo that? I want to, I know you don't want to do this, Mike. I know it's like, I want to be good. I'm ready to be good. I get it. But like you guys eating all the money on the front end of the Kyler deal, getting this pivoted into the future, a better quarterback class, having more money at that time to spend with now a better foundation for the quarterback you're bringing in, not just going and grabbing the guy, but you're actually going to lay the foundation for him, having the coach in place, having an offensive line in place. You're going to be happier for it in the long run.
I mean, I hope so, man. I know you guys are. I get it. It's just 4 years of losing. It's just you kind of lose faith of trust the process, you know. But I understand. You guys make all the sense in the world, and I get it. It does feel like the Kyler Murray contract is being eaten. Now, of course, we don't have any reports about that, but it does feel like with these moves, like the Arizona Cardinals aren't really going to do very much. Like there was a report out there about Jacoby Brissett going to be the starter, and I'm okay with that. That's fine. But yeah, the whole Malik Willis thing, I'm kind of glad he ended up going to a different team with the Miami Dolphins. It is what it is. I never was really solely sold on him. Now he went for a lot lower than what people anticipated, but I mean it's on paper it sounds good that the foundation's being built, but we're the Arizona Cardinals at the end of the day. Let me see it first, and then I'll start trusting the process.
You know, Mike, you're the Arizona Cardinals. You could fill that blank in by saying you're the Jets or the Miami Dolphins. So at least you're beyond that. You got the Dolphins paying Tua $100 million to go play for Atlanta. So it could be worse. And listen, you know, I feel like it's a nice, echoing what the guys are saying, you could have gone out and overpaid on something that wouldn't have made sense. Maybe this is the long play here, even though it's nothing splashy. This time of year, it's tough when you're not making these crazy moves. Feels like you're not doing much. Maybe they are laying the foundation here to get back into the thick of things in the NFC West. You mentioned Kendrick Bourne. He's now an Arizona Cardinal. That means he's no longer a San Francisco 49er, but they wasted no time replacing his services. Let's talk about a move that aged like fine wine within the span of about 8 hours, because the 49ers signed Mike Evans, reportedly a $20 million deal. Info comes out later in the day. It's looking like they're getting Mike Evans' services for about $14 million here with an out and a third year kind of ghost year here. So looking at what you're getting from Mike Evans, obviously last year with the injury, not his best year every single year prior to that, 10 years straight of 1,000+ yards. He's now a Niner. He's now in Kyle Shanahan's offense. Jesse, what do you make of this move? When you look at the financials, you look at the caliber of player, this feels like a home run for San Fran.
Yeah, it's definitely not an awful deal by any means. I think there are reasons to like the deal. I think from a 49, you're bringing in Mike Evans is, first of all, a model citizen. I live in Tampa. I know how much the Tampa Bay Buccaneer fans absolutely love Mike Evans. Now, they think that he's obviously well past his prime, and so they understand why he wouldn't be with the Bucs going forward. But they love Mike Evans, the person. He's probably going to be a Hall of Famer, should be a Hall of Famer. I think he's pushing up against maybe a top 10 receiver of all time with all those 1,000-yard seasons. But for me, I think when I look at a Mike Evans and where his career is at versus where the 49ers are at, I don't know that those two things meet. And so I think Mike Evans makes a lot of sense for the Rams or the Seahawks or the Bills, maybe, you know, insert a team that you think is truly competitive and winning the Super Bowl this upcoming year, Broncos, maybe. And yes, Mike Evans makes a lot of sense on a one-year deal to a team like that. But the 49ers, I don't think are ready to win a Super Bowl this upcoming year. And so signing a player that is 33 years old or going to be 33 when the season starts, who, yes, he had an injury last year, but even if you take his season and you break it down to 17 games, he still only would have had about 782 yards. He's clearly declined over the last 2 years when you look at his yards per game and yards per reception. So with all that being said, I don't think the timeline of Mike Evans fits a lot. Now, yes, you have to have some players. Mike Evans is a model citizen. So again, I do think there are reasons to like it. I just think for Mike Evans and where he's at and where the 49ers are at, I don't think that those two things lined up, but that's me personally.
Brando, the first world problems of being Super Bowl champion is you have a lot of guys who are going to get paid by a lot of other teams, and that's exactly what just happened to the Seattle Seahawks. Reek Woolen, gone. Kenneth Walker, thanks a lot, by the way, Brandon, gone. Kobe Bryant, gone. Boye Mafe, gone. With the amount of money Seattle has to spend, yes, they had some re-signings, but no additions up until now. So I want to get your take, Brando, on the departures, but also what you think the plan is here for Seattle. Not getting active early on here, but obviously having enough money to spend to where if they want to get active, they certainly can.
Yeah, I've called it the Super Bowl tax in that you're seeing people making money across the board. That's a pretty heavy increase from what they should make. Boye Mafe had 2 sacks last year. He's never cracked double digits in his time. His first rookie year was a lot of nothing. That man just signed a 3-year, $60 million deal with the cheap-ass Cincinnati Bengals. So that's kind of what's happening here collectively across the board with Hawk players to a degree. The Walker contract wasn't as bad, but even in Walker, you have a guy who's got some holes to his game. I love how he is as a runner. I think he's as dynamic as anybody out there with the ball in his hands, but he's horrible in pass protection, and he's average at best as a pass catcher. And oh yeah, by the way, he's got some injury problems as well that linger in, which with running backs, you always know. If they've got some injury problems on the rookie contract, they're not going to tend to get healthier into the second deal. So what John and company are doing here is they're letting those guys walk that are going to be overpaid. They've retained a couple of very key free agents in-house to be able to set the stage. And he's kept, as John's called it before in the past, his powder dry. I've often pointed to this being that you go a little bit more conservative in this free agent range, not because you don't have the money to spend, but because you're not going to overpay so you can be ready to strike when the time is right. And this looks no truer than a situation like the Max Crosby reverse we're seeing. Not that we go and do this Crosby deal. It's just an example of what I'm talking about, in that this type of deal presents itself a couple of times usually down the line throughout the course of the season, and you don't tend to have to pay the top market prices that exist at the start of free agency. As far as the guys that are bringing it back in-house, Josh Jobe is a really solid cornerback. In this secondary, you've got Nicky Manwari and Witherspoon who dissuade a lot of throws in their direction, which means that he ends up getting hyper-targeted over there instead of that, and he's really held up. He's a solid addition. He reinforces the cornerback room there. And then you're bringing back Rashid Shaheed. And the $17 million price is definitely a little bit expensive. But again, that was going to be where you're going to have to pay that Super Bowl tax for him, especially with him housing a couple of those kick returns. And that's the good part about him, is you're paying $17 million, not just for what he is as a receiver or as a deep threat. You're also getting maybe the best returner in the game, both as a punt returner and a kick returner, and a guy that you can give carries to out of the backfield. They actually aligned him up as a running back at times last year and were able to give him some carries in that way. And so when you put that all together, I think the value is well worth it. But most importantly, Z-Bot, Seattle's sitting kind of in the cut here, waiting to strike, and they will strike.
The Super Bowl tax that you're alluding to entailed the following. Reek Woolen goes to the Eagles for a contract up to $15 million. Kenneth Walker to the Chiefs, $43 million. Kobe Bryant to the Bears, $40 million. Boye Mafe, $60 million. You look at those departures, Brando, any of those that you would have liked the Seahawks to match, or are you fine with the Hawks letting these guys walk for the amount of money they wound up getting elsewhere?
I'm completely fine for letting them walk elsewhere because I do not believe in overpaying in the name of keeping the band back together. Football is a year-by-year sport, and you have to just, from a cold-blooded, like snake blood, you got to sit there and just coldly assess what's going on and year-by-year turn and pivot in the right direction to make sure you're maximizing the value of your football team. And when you start paying a little bit over here and you splurge a little bit over there and you do it here and here and there and there, and all that starts to stack up over time, and then you find yourself a year from them, oh my God, you're suddenly over your skis in your cap situation, and we only had that 1 year to strike now, and we didn't prolong our Super Bowl window. The Seahawks just won the Super Bowl. It's like I talked about during the playoffs. We're in-house money. They accomplished the greatest of great. We can do whatever the hell we want right now. And we certainly are not pressed by some urgency that we have to strike right now. It doesn't make any sense, and it's not what also got us here.
With that amount of money, though, and I know you don't want to get into a desperate move, and it doesn't seem like the Seahawks are going to be going down that road, but with the amount of money made and no moves made up until this point, what do you think they end up doing as we move forward here? Because with that much money, with that type of team, you got to think they wind up doing something substantial at some point. What does that look like to you? Could it be Max Crosby? Is there something else you have in mind here?
Well, I think Crosby's just a representation. They certainly want to make a run at him, and I expect they'll be right back into this, but he's a representation of what will exist. It's the unknown right now. It's the getting to training camp and some situation is played out between a team and a player, and he suddenly becomes available when nobody thought that could happen, or around the trade deadline, which this also occurs. And I know that this seems a little bit pie in the sky, but the point of this being is that they've had exact success taking this exact road many times over in the past. Jadeveon Clowney, Sheldon Richardson, big trade value you gave up in training camp to go get. Now, the Jamal Adams trade wasn't necessarily one that worked out, but I think that was one where it just didn't make sense to go for a safety and put up that much assets. It still shows a willingness by John to strike at a different time than other teams. I think most teams kind of fit in this box of we've got to do our roster building from March right through the draft, and whatever we've done through that time, we're done. We're set. I think John tries to keep a pocket of money set aside because he's got so much success when he does so, because those deals like Leonard Williams a couple of years ago, second round pick, Leonard carried a heavy base salary. Those who had the cap space to be able to bring on board mid-year that kind of cap space could do that deal, and there were less teams because of it. Rashid Shaheed this past year, and so on and so forth. So he's been down this road before, and I think you just get better value that way. I look at across this league right now. I'd be interested to hear what the boys think here in the chat in the show, but I don't see a lot of teams maximizing value out there. I see a lot of overpayment. I see a lot of silly deals. I see a lot of students. Yeah, I see just spending for spending's sake, and you don't want to be a part of that.
It does seem like there was a ton of money spent in ways that kind of left you scratching your head. Alec Pierce, you're looking at with the rumors of him getting offered more than $30 million outside of Indianapolis, never had a 50-catch season. He ends up getting roughly 30 from Indy. We got your guys' perspective on each of your respective teams. I'm interested to see what you guys think in terms of what everyone else in this division did. So, Jake, I'll start with you. We got your thoughts on what the Rams did. Your overall thoughts on what everyone else did in the NFC West.
Yeah, I liked what Seattle did. I thought the Drake Thomas, the linebacker, I thought that was a total bargain of a deal. I don't know why his agent wanted him to sign that contract, but he's a stud, and I thought that was a great move. I thought the Job move was great, super undervalued. And I totally agree with what Brandon is saying. I mean, I watched a lot of his tape. I mean, pretty much almost every snap this past year. And what I came away with was because of the big names. I mean, even Woolen is considered a big name. Him and of course, having Witherspoon, it really kind of put him in a situation where he was targeted, 88 times, and he really held up. So I was really impressed with what I saw from him. I thought that was a great move to bring him back. I thought it was great to bring back Shaheed. You're going to have to pay a lot for a receiver in this market. Unfortunately, there's going to be guys that get paid that aren't necessarily worth paying that much. I was actually surprised that the Titans got Wan'Dale Robinson for $17 million when he was projected to get way more than that. But then after he got 17, we saw the Romeo Doubs move and things like that. So, I was talking about getting Naylor for under $7 million a year, and he got $12 million a year from the Raiders. Yeah, it's a lot out there, but I thought that the Seahawks did a nice job of bringing back who they're supposed to bring back. No idea what the Chiefs are thinking, letting go of their corners and letting go of some players to bring in Kenneth Walker on that deal. I don't think Seattle should have paid that. I know right now it looks bad, but they're going to figure out the running back room regardless, so that's fine. Speaking of which, the running back room, I know one guy that a lot of people had going to Seattle was Tyler Algier. He goes to Arizona. I thought that was a great move. I was surprised they brought back James Conner. I thought for sure he would be a cap casualty, but you have him and you have Algier. Algier's really underrated. I mean, he was a 1,000-yard rusher his rookie year, and then the Falcons go out and get Bijan Robinson. So you can't forget about the type of player he is, and he's so hard to bring down. Really good pad level that he runs with. Contact balance is fantastic. And, oh, by the way, he can pass protect. So I liked what Arizona did there. I like them going after Minshew. I think Minshew's underrated. It's probably going to be Jacoby Brissett's job. And really, I didn't really get to say, during the whole thing, but I do agree with the guys in that this is a good kind of you're building something now. You're building a foundation. All you want to do in your first year as a head coach when you're, really just kind of looking at a new regime. I mean, Monty Austin-Fort's still there, and I'm sure he had something to do with a lot of this. But, I think really the biggest thing is to just focus on how you want Arizona Cardinals brand of football, what you want that to look like. And, I think this is the best way to do that, going out and getting Sumalo, who I can tell you right now, Steelers fans are not happy to be losing. He's a very good player. And then Kendrick Bourne is an underrated player in his own right. Then I look at the 49ers, and I thought Mike Evans was a great move for what they want. I don't think that's a great move for Mike Evans. I saw... It was Coach Yak on Twitter saying he had an elite quarterback. I had to laugh at that. That was ridiculous. Sorry. You can like Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy's a good quarterback, and I've said that for a long time. He's not elite, and he never will be elite because he just doesn't have those traits. Going out for the 49ers to go out and get a Mike Evans, to get a big-bodied target for a generally accurate quarterback who's not pinpoint accurate, makes a lot of sense, actually. I agree with Jesse's point. Maybe the timeline doesn't make a lot of sense, but I mean, if we're just talking about every year's a different year, we're trying to go after it, we're trying to win a Super Bowl, Mike Evans makes sense. I know the Rams loved him when he was, potentially going to be a free agent. He chose to stay with Tampa. If he didn't, he would have been with the Rams before, Devontae Adams even came over there. So that deal, I think, is great. I don't think he's over the hill. His separation score, according to Fantasy Points data, has him at second, only behind Devontae Adams. So this guy still creates separation, and he's got, the ability to go up, box out defenders like he's a power forward. And he's going to, bring down the rock. And, I think the big thing is, are injuries going to plague him? We finally saw him last year break that 1,000-yard, streak. He had 11 straight seasons of that. Does that continue? If that does, that's a little concerning. But aside from that, I thought the 49ers were going to do a little bit more. I was surprised they didn't. And, that's what I have for those three. I think all three did, like, all the signings are good. Like, I don't think anybody should have an issue with any of the signings. But I was expecting a little bit more out of the 49ers. Seattle, they're just in a tough spot because, we could talk about how they have all the cap in the world, but to Brandon's point, you have that tax that you're going to have to pay on these guys because you won a Super Bowl. Paying Tariq Woolen upwards $15 million is insane. He has a 22% missed tackle rate. And I honestly don't think he's a good fit for Seattle. I think he played off of a lot of what was around him in Seattle. And I think that's the really big key context that people miss. That's actually one thing that I was expecting when I went to watch Job on tape. I was like, oh, he's playing in the best defense and he's probably not good. And I was like, no, he's holding his own. Like, he's actually that good. I don't know if Woolen is that good. We're going to find out. And obviously maybe we won't because he gets to play with a great duo over there in Philly. But I think back to the Seahawks thing, I think they made the right decision. You don't want to have to pay all these guys top dollar because they're teams like the Titans that are just spraying money everywhere. It's like, dude, Alante Taylor, who gave up 8 touchdowns last year and over 100 target pass rating, and honestly, the tape wasn't very good. He took $20 million a year. Like, I think we've got to the point where now Robert Saleh can do no wrong. I defended him with the Jets, and obviously he's well respected, but I don't know, spending $35 million a year on him and Cordell Flott. That's the thing. We saw a lot of those teams doing that, and I don't feel like anybody in the NFC West was doing that.
Mike, what did you make of what the rest of the division did outside of your Cardinals as you watched free agency go down over the last 48 hours?
Yeah, I think that the Rams did a really good job. They got their biggest hole, their deficiency, the cornerback. And although I know, Jake, I'm sorry, but the best corners in the league or best whatever secondary league, you guys needed help, right? And you guys did
absolutely.
That. You know what I mean? And that's key, and that's kill. And that's one thing that I would say about the Rams that I'm like I just look at the Rams and I get so jealous. I'm like, dang, that's just it's just beautiful. Like, look, you get a hole in a need and you did it. That's what you did. You go after McDuffie, and then you got your other cornerback as well. You fixed it. You're good. And for the people out there that are saying, oh, you need to do this, no, you guys are already there. Like, what else do you need? You guys aren't the Cardinals. You guys aren't the Titans. You guys aren't these. There's a reason why a lot of teams that have a lot of money are in these positions, right? Because we're usually bottom dwellers. I'm sorry. It kind of makes it seem like I'm down on my Cardinals right now, but right now is not really a good time to be a Cardinal fan. But yeah, no, I think the Rams did a fantastic job. Honestly, I really did. So good for them. 49ers. I know there's a little bit back and forth with the whole Mike Evans thing, and obviously that's the big splash play over there with the 49ers. I don't see an issue with it. I mean, I still think he's a really good wide receiver, and you guys can use a wide receiver. I mean, Ayuk going out with that situation. I see your tweet out there, Jeff. They're probably release them on Wednesday, which makes sense, or something along those lines. But like, they needed a wide receiver, like Mike Evans. If he can stay healthy, he's a Hall of Fame wide receiver, and why not give that to Brock Purdy? I mean, I don't see an issue with it. I know the money, it could be a lot. It might seem like an overpay, but the 49ers, I see every single damn team in this division, with the exception of the Arizona Cardinals, as this is not going to set you back. Like, you'll recover. If this goes right, you'll be fine. Like, this is a good weapon for Brock Purdy. It's a good weapon for this offense. He's going to be fine. You're going to be good. And then for the Seahawks, I mean, there wasn't very much, but you're coming off the Super Bowl. I mean, like, just like Brando said, right? I mean, this comes with when you win the Super Bowl, you're going to have people poaching your players, and it doesn't seem like they did anything, at least like bringing in new people, but they retained a lot of good players as well. Rashid Shaheed for God's sakes, as well as Josh Jobe as well. So no, they did a good job, man. Overall, I think this division is so smart. Minus the Cardinals. Minus the Cardinals. So overall, no, I'm gonna say I'm not gonna bag my card. We did good, right? It's mediocre. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think everybody did a good job too.
Yeah, it is interesting to sit back and watch a really sound division get to work. I'm watching my foes over in the AFC East get to work, and it's just night and day compared to what's going on over here. Jesse, what did you make of what was going on over here in the NFC West as you watch free agency go down?
Yeah, well, I'll start at the top. Seattle Seahawks, right? Just came off of a Super Bowl victory. The guys that they lost, I expected them to lose. The real question for me was Rashid Shaheed. Was he going to come back? And he did. And I think that was an awesome get. When I look at Rashid Shaheed in particular and what he's able to do to flip the field on the special team side of the house, that's worth all the money in the world. He's may have been one of the biggest reasons, in my opinion, why they were able to win a Super Bowl. I think the acquisition of him really put them over the top. I thought that the Rams were the clear better team than them in those first two matchups, but by the time Rashid Shaheed got going, I just felt like he was a pure difference maker, and I think that showed true. Anytime they needed a big play, it seemed like he was flipping the field either on an end around or a kickoff return or what have you. So I think that was a huge bring back for them. And you can't pay everybody. So I think who they chose to pay, who they chose not to pay, I think it was the right choices across the board there. How can you not like what the Rams are doing? I mean, to me, on paper, and this is why the game is not played on paper, but on paper, they have become the best team in the NFC West with the moves that they made. I mean, adding both those corners from the Kansas City Chiefs, absolutely incredible over there. That was their biggest weakness. And they still have a very high first-round draft pick, so they're in good shape. And like I said, I like what the Cardinals are doing. The Cardinals shouldn't be in win now mode, but you got to fill out pieces, and the pieces that they got can help them for the next couple of years to come. So I actually like what the Cardinals are doing. I think the NFC West is, to Mike's point, one of the better divisions in football because they do have smart front offices. They do have good coaching. And yes, the Cardinals might be the one team that's the anomaly to that, but I look at what they've done so far this offseason, and if they do have a GM that's on the hot seat, either they have cut his balls off, not go sign it because he's on the hot seat, or he's still making smart decisions regardless of what's going on around him. So I like what everybody in the division's done.
Brando, all these teams, they're trying to chase your Hawks. They got after it over the last couple of days. So what did you make of what these teams tried to do in order to get to where your Seahawks are currently?
Yeah, I think that just again to reiterate on that Cardinal front, I really like them taking a patient approach, and that's the approach that would make me most fearful of the Cardinals into the future, because I think they're never going to be able to get out from under the fact that their financial situation is a tough one, and they're never going to keep up with the Joneses as teams like the Rams and the Seahawks, I don't think, in this way. So you just got to draft and develop better, and you got to set the stage in an appropriate way. We live in a world where the Bengals operate from some of the same confines, and yet they themselves have gotten to a Super Bowl. So it can be done, but you got to do it right, you got to do it intelligently, and you can't do it fast. And I like that they see that they're not doing that in these moves. It's as much the moves that they didn't make as much as the moves that they did make. Algier is going to work really well coming back with Connor there, because I think they're going to stick with a lot of the gap-based stuff that they do in the run game, which is so successful, and that's what Algier is a real hammer inside. So he's going to be a good addition, and they didn't really do anything notable beyond that. Minshew's fine, but again, I think it is kind of a soft tank. As far as the Rams go, I do think that you've got to give them the nod, is that on paper that they have been able to overtake Seattle here on paper so far. We, of course, aren't completed in the process. Let's see how this all fully plays out. But when you do look at what they've done here now, they have made their corner room significantly better. I like the McDuffie trade as far as the trade goes. I got to say, Jake, I'm not a fan of giving him the $30 million contract. And I think you sounded a couple of the alarm bells on that one, where it's not always great when you got to trade for the guy and then put him on the monster deal, on the market rate setting deal. It's kind of, that's a dicey territory. But look, I always say that a team has to identify where they stand and what they're trying to do as a team. Are we elite? Are we rebuilding? Are we ascending? You guys are elite. And when you're elite, it's F them picks and it's do what you got to do and who cares about tomorrow. So I think at the end of the day, those are still really smart moves, in that they have made you better on paper. They have, everything was down between our teams last year, and every battle, every fight came right down to the end. So getting a little bit better on paper versus us getting a little bit less, I think that they have gotten better, and I can't knock any of their moves. It's been solid down the line, I think, from my perspective, and looking at what they've done. Even the Higbee extension is kind of nice, though it does, unfortunately, Jake, probably put your dream of Sadiq to be at bed at this point.
No chance. They're still.
You guys gonna have 5 tight ends out there now?
We're gonna roll. We're gonna take offensive linemen off. We'll have 6 tight ends. I don't even care. No, all jokes aside, you're probably right. But at the same time, stranger things have happened. I mean, my thinking is that the Rams are going to go offensive weapon in the first round. And if I could take anybody, and this is regardless of position when it comes to offense, like regardless of where they're picking, if I could pick, I would take Omar Cooper Jr. I am that convinced that he is the best receiver in this draft. There is literally not one thing that I have an issue with. Maybe, if I wanted to be nitpicky, he could be better at the catch point when we're talking about those contested catch situations. Maybe. But I think this is a guy that has inside-outside versatility. And I look at him, I see Hines Ward, I see, like Robert Woods, I see Ibuka. I mean, I see so many of the guys that Chris Godwin, like receivers that I've fallen in love with years past. He has the whole total package. And so I think that is who I would go with. And I know a lot of Rams fans aren't going to like to hear that, because they're not all of them, but a lot just don't fence and how important it is to block, to play in this offense as a receiver. I don't know if Mekhi Lemon is the blocker that we're getting with a guy like Carnell Tate, like Cooper, like Tyson, although Tyson's injuries scare the shit out of me, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's what I would say. I would say if I could take anybody, any of those offensive weapons, it would be Cooper, and then I would probably take Sadiq after him. But I'm all in on Cooper, guys. I think he's the real deal.
Jake, why don't you like Mekhi, man?
That's what I was going to do.
Like Mekhi Lemon, man.
Man, I like him. I just don't. My biggest thing is like,
what's going on?
We're talking about the future of the wide receiver position in a Sean McVay offense. You think he wants a guy who, yes, he's willing, and I love how people throw that in their evals. He's a willing blocker. I'm watching this guy get picked up and thrown back like it's the Michael Oher Blindside movie. When it's like it's nice that he wants to be there and help, and maybe he can get better. But that's the thing, is that if we're at the point where we're talking about, well, he can improve, it's like, okay, well, that's great, but the other guys already have that aspect of their game. I don't have to worry about them having to improve to the point where they're playable on the field. Like, and that's my biggest thing with Lemon, is that I have no doubt that he has the toughness, he has the physicality, and he cares enough to try to block, but he doesn't have the functional strength, and that's why he gets dog walked. So, yeah. Sorry, long thing there, but that's...
Man, quit hating, Jay. You gotta be hating, man.
Hey, in 40.
I did have an issue with Tutu. I had him in the 6th round. What are you talking about?
I didn't. I was right in that same area.
I mean,
70 pounds. Are you kidding me?
I liked him after the fact, and he's probably the best blocking receiver I've ever seen at that size and weight. But yeah, no.
Hey Jake, have you heard anything about Tutu Atwell? Like in terms of like, I know he's still a free agent. Like anything, like in terms of like not coming back. Right?
Rams fans are gonna punch me in the face for this. I actually heard the Rams might bring him back
to not use him.
Apparently, they want paperweight.
Just hang in LA for a year for $10 million too, Mike.
Do not do that. Do not do that. You know, I've been seeing Rams fans saying, "Well, why don't we go out and we'll get Diami Brown?" I'm like, "Oh, great! So you want a little bit taller $10 million paperweight? Gotcha."
44 minutes in the books.
Million.
Before we get to the best part of the show, want to let everyone know, if you're not already, please hit that subscribe button. We are inching ever so closely to that illustrious 10K mark. So go ahead and smash that for us if you are enjoying the show as much as we enjoy bringing it to you. And with that said, Brando, if you cued me in 45 minutes in the books, it's time for the best part of the show. It is Super Chat time. Woo! Let's kick things off with the HHG, who's going on a year as a member of the NFC West Roundtable. You got to love it. HHG saying, Jesse, Hawks are in talks. Say that 3 times fast. For the changing of Levi Stadium, we got Hawks House, Hawks Nest, Levi South, and Sevi. Name change to be applied before the season. Did they take down those banners yet over at Levi yet, Jesse? Or are those still hanging up?
Yeah, they're still cleaning up confetti from what I hear.
Yeah.
Jerk offs. Yeah.
It'll forever. It'll
I don't
forever.
know. I don't really have a comeback
grounds.
for it because you guys did win in Levi. So what am I gonna say? You're right. All right, cool.
It's kind of like when you get near glitter, you know, when you get near glitter and you can't get it off of you, Brando. That's going to be the neon green confetti that's all over Levi.
It's permanent. So, I could just see the guy clearing the stadium, and he sees a big confetti, he tries to rub it off, and it won't. He's like, "What the? It's not going off." It's kind of like that. It's a stain that don't leave.
Speaking of the 49ers, the substation tax, according to Dave Pugh, is hitting the 49ers pockets hard in free agency. It's getting a little sad and or pathetic watching this organization who can't fathom not winning a Super Bowl with this core sellout and overextend like this. I'm not sure you could say that Niners really overextended here. I don't think they extended really all that far at all. What do you make of that, Jesse?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think the 49ers are trying to do both. They're trying to remain competitive while rebuilding things, and you just can't do both. I think that, the 49ers are further away this year than they were last year from the Super Bowl. And I think every year that you have Trent Williams and CMC and some of these aging guys on your roster, you're just pushing that window further and further back because you're paying these guys big time money. And eventually they're going to be gone and you're going to get nothing for them. You're going to eat dead money when they retire or what have you. And it's just, you're not going to win a Super Bowl with these guys. So why not rip the Band-Aid off? But, I've been saying it. This is my 3rd offseason in a row. I know it's never going to happen. Trent Williams is going to get a new deal with the 49ers and he'll play till he's 50. So whatever.
Oh my goodness. Really? I was going to say, I get where David's coming from because that's what this feels like. You're straddling the fence a little bit from a Niner organization standpoint. You're not really all in. You're kind of half out. You're eating $100 million this last year, but now you're not really spending money. You got the Brandon Ayuk contract just kind of hanging out there because you want to save yourself cash on that. It just sort of feels like, are you in or out on this? Mike Evans isn't going to take you to the Super Bowl, in or out.
I've been waiting for that Deebo Samuel notification to hit my phone. I can't believe it's taken this long, Jesse. Maybe tomorrow we'll get that information. Baker.
He's still sitting on his car downtown.
If Deebo comes back, I'm going to lose my ever-loving mind.
Banker Elpris, ready for Cardinals to take T. Simpson at number 3. What do you make of that? What do you make of that, Mike?
I have a lot of faith in Montiel support, but that would be the all-time get this man out of this office if he did something like that. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Ty Simpson, just not with the 3rd overall pick. Like if the Cardinals were to trade back up in the 1st round, I'm okay with that. That's fine. If he falls to the 2nd, that's cool. That's fine. Take him. I'm not using the 3rd overall pick on him, but I'm not putting a pat for Monty. I don't know what he's going to do.
We got a lot of super chats coming in on this, and I feel like it's worth dedicating some time to. We got Propa coming in saying, just talk to Tua. He's excited to play with Max Crosby. We got a couple more super chats coming in regard to the Max Crosby trade. We got Crowherd saying, just joined. Anyone excited about the possibility of getting Crosby on a lesser deal? Sorry, I'll catch up. Well, you're already caught up. We're about to dive into that in just a second. I feel like there might have been one more, maybe not, but regardless, let's talk about that because this is crazy. I mean, this is unprecedented what we're seeing here.
Right.
We're watching a blockbuster trade go down, unprecedented for the Baltimore Ravens. They're giving up 2 first-round draft picks. They're acquiring their Lamar Jackson of the defensive side of the ball. And just about an hour and a half ago, this trade falls through. I've been surfing on Twitter, and the initial story was that this was because of a failed physical from Max Crosby. But the powers that be, they're online letting the public know that there's something fishy about this. Tom Pelissero tweets out that one GM told him that this is, quote, very much BS on Baltimore's part. And there was one report from Jason LaCanfora, who he covers the NFL, and he goes, just got off the phone with 2 GMs, neither one buying the Ravens' failed physical narrative, not by a long shot. Good luck finding agents and teams to trust you in negotiations now. I'm watching the Ravens getting ripped over this. So I want to get your guys' perspective on what is
I know.
Crazy. Craziness.
They're getting Trey Hendrickson.
And
it's
so Jake,
so
to double
obvious.
down on that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So obvious. This is just a classic tale of, oh shit, Trey
buyer's
Hendrickson
remorse, right?
is still available, and I guess we weren't really expecting that. And they're sitting there, Crosby, they're like, well, it's documented he's had some injuries lately. I think we could get out of this deal. And I guarantee you, we're going to have a Trey Hendrickson signing with the Ravens, announcement within the day. Okay? It's going to happen. So, yeah, I don't know.
Well, people are already reading between the tea leaves here. They're saying what you're saying, Jake, but people are already reading through the BS, and they're saying this is a classic case of buyer's remorse, and you're really putting the Raiders in a tough spot. And when you do this on such a public stage, like I just mentioned, good luck making moves with Baltimore in the future, because it just feels like these owners are going to come together and say, I'm not going to be the victim of what the Raiders were here. Jesse, I'll kick it up to you here first. What do you make of this? Because this goes from being what was going to be the biggest move of the offseason to the biggest blunder we've seen in quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, so I went live right after the news broke. I just happened to have a show scheduled, and I said it then, Trey Hendrickson certainly makes sense to him now. I'm shocked that this is coming out. I also said during that time, because, we didn't have all the information, was, I would be shocked if the Ravens are just have buyer's remorse and backing out of this deal, because the shockwaves that would send throughout the league. You're a good franchise, a respected franchise. That's a very quick way to lose a lot of that respect and kind of leave a black eye on the organization. I'm surprised, even if you have buyer's remorse, that is the route that you would take here, knowing that the ripple effect can be much, much bigger than just losing a first-round pick or two. So I'm surprised if that is the case, but it certainly does sound like that. It's also very easy when the Raiders are involved to be like, yeah, the Raiders effed it up. I mean, it's the Raiders, right? Like I'm sure that it's on them, but it doesn't sound like that's the case. I'm actually really shocked here that this is what's going on. But yes, Hendrickson is certainly going to be a Baltimore Raven. That's got to for sure happen. And gosh, I don't know. Then the flip side of that is Max Crosby, right? He's not going to come back to the Raiders. They still got to trade him. No other team was willing to give 2 first-round picks. We know that for a fact. The Dallas Cowboys have already said that they were out. They were the runners-up. So what you're going to get for Max Crosby now, who you can't bring back after all of this debacle, is more like a first and a third or a first and a fourth. Like significant drop off as far as the compensation, which now means that there are a bunch of other teams that are going to enter the fold, I'm sure. And I expect Max Crosby will probably be gone in the next week or so. But the scary thing is now he's probably going to end up in the NFC. And so I'm looking right over at Seattle or Philadelphia or the Rams or even the Bucks. And I'm like, golly, man, now he's going to end up with one of these teams and the 49ers got to deal with them. There's a lot of ripple effect here, big time.
Speaking of that ripple effect, it's affecting everybody. I just saw a tweet. Some guy said he would shave his head bald if the Ravens went out and got Max Crosby. He shaved his head bald, and now he's bald for no reason because he's without Max Crosby. I can't imagine being that guy right now, but I match your sentiment here, Jesse. I'm as stunned as you are. One thing to note here, the Raiders said very distinctly, we have no comment this time. And a comment here. So Brando, I'll kick it to you because it feels like the Seahawks could be in play here on Max Crosby. But what do you make of how this whole thing went down here over the last hour and a half?
It is a completely unprofessional move. I can't think of any time in NFL history that a trade's lingered this long from when you've consummated it to now deciding that he's going to fail the physical here. I think the buyer's remorse is definitely a part of this. The Hendrickson part is definitely a part of this. I mean, the Ravens gave up a significant amount of draft capital for him. They went above and beyond as being that only team willing to give up 2 first-round picks, and you can understand why they were probably kicking themselves in retrospect, especially as it's been said, Hendrickson still remaining there on the market is somewhat of an equivalency that you don't have to give draft capital up to go get, and then you can just make your native picks. You probably start doing that math inside yourself as the market continues to linger for Hendrickson. But with that said, this is also a brutal blow to the Raiders because he comes back now and he carries a $30 million cap hit back onto the Raiders instantaneously that they have to deal with, that they did not count that was going to be on the books. As well as, to Jesse's point on this, I think that they played this tremendously. They waited this thing out appropriately. They got this thing into a bidding war. One day after another, it was Chicago, and then it was Dallas, and then they finally got it to the Ravens and maximized the return, and now they're getting screwed for it. It's a horrible turn for them. It's not a representation of them being a bad organization. This is completely all on the Ravens, and yeah, this is exactly, as I've said a few times in the show today, the market opportunity that we're looking for. This is what we want to see. It's not that we're not going to jump for a big dog. It's just that we're not going to pay max prices to get the big dog. And right now, you're not paying max prices, and we've got the ammunition to go get this done. We can even potentially kick in some players that they might find interesting that we're willing to part with. So, yeah, I think Seattle's going to be right at the forefront of this, and I don't think they're going to be dissuaded by the knee thing as much as other teams, because that's the other thing now is these damaged goods.
Yeah.
That's the other part. How many more teams want out of it because of that?
How is this the same organization that benefited from Faxgate? Now we have Maxgate. Like, I find that really funny. But to your point, the Raiders, they moved on. Like they signed Linderbaum. I wonder if that had anything to do with it. Oh, you signed Linderbaum? Well, screw you. Linderbaum, Kwity Paye, Quay Walker, Nakobe Dean, Jalen Naylor, Eric Stokes, Malcolm Kuntz, and Matthew Gay. Okay. Now, mind you, these contracts are insane. Record-breaking deal for a center. Okay. 3 years, $48 million for Kwity Paye. 3 years, $40.5 million for Quay Walker. 3 years, $36 million for Nakobe Dean. 3 years, $35 million for Jalen Naylor. 3 years, $30 million for Eric Stokes. $11 million for Kuntz. Like, now it's not like they could just bring back Crosby and be like, yeah, we'll figure it out. Like, tomorrow, I mean, are they even, I haven't looked, but are they cap compliant? I mean,
they're more than cap compliant.
Okay, they're more than cap compliant.
But we know that they're cash poor. They've always been that way. So I gotta imagine that's
why they traded Khalil Mack, because their owner didn't want to pay them.
Mike, what do you make of this craziness? It's just unbelievable.
Oh, my jaw dropped. I mean, I saw what the Raiders put out. The Baltimore Ravens have backed out of our trade agreement for Max Crosby. We have no further comment. I mean, if that doesn't tell you, I mean, that's an organization that's pissed off at another organization. That's to the point. You know what? It's, if that didn't tell you anything. Now I know the initial reports came out and they were talking about the injury, which maybe has something a little to do with it. But this is like solely on the Ravens, man. Shame on them. It's really unfortunate. Now the happiest I was when he got traded over to the Ravens. Hell yeah, he's going to the AFC. Now there's a chance of him coming to the NFC West. And I don't think there's a chance for me and Jesse here, but these two, maybe more Brando than Jake over there. But man, this just sucks as an Arizona Cardinal fan that already is down in the dumps to even think about him potentially coming into the NFC West is a possibility. But
maybe
I do
he goes to the Cardinals.
Everything. What's up?
Maybe he goes to the Cardinals.
Oh, stop it. Stop it.
Do you want him?
I mean, yes, I would.
What would you give up?
Well, here's the thing. With what he's going to go for, A, I don't see Monty Osmore doing it, and B, we don't have a quarterback. Like it's just.
But what's he gonna go for, Mike? That's the thing. Like now, I mean, I might even be interested in the Rams going after him. I know they kicked the tires on him, or at least they were sniffing around.
Mm-hmm.
But what does that deal now look like, Brando? Like I know that's what you were trying to kind of explain here. Like when you get labeled damaged goods, like yeah, okay, it's all fun and dandy. Like we're all shitting on the Ravens and the organizations are shitting on the Ravens, but when push comes to shove, the Raiders are still going to get screwed. There's not going to be like, oh, we're so sorry you lost those 2 first-round picks. We'll give you our 2 first. No. The price just dropped, and it might have dropped significantly. So It's definitely interesting for sure. By the way, Neil Elatraj is the one that did his surgery, and he is the Rams team surgeon. So that is
connections are already there.
I think Seattle. Yeah, I think Seattle's their first round pick is where you're going to start minimum. I think that they're going to be fully willing. John's not going to be hesitant to like hold back a third round pick in next year's draft, or maybe even potentially a second round pick in next year's draft. I think he's going to look at that and be like, yeah, done and done.
Yeah, I agree.
Just one more bit of evidence that proves the NFL is the greatest soap opera on planet Earth. Garth Knight coming in. Don't lose faith, Mike. I believe the French coach is named Lafleur from the Arizona area.
Yeah, I mean, I like the coach. I like the coach, but I mean, we'll see.
Dylan, for old time's sake, rank the AFC East quarterbacks 1 through 4.
Is that it?
Wow.
Holy crap.
We got Allen. We got
Allen,
May.
Gino.
We got Kyle Allen. We got how about Gino? How about Gino, Brando? What do you make of him going back to where it all started?
He's got a better supporting cast this time than he did the first go around. I will say that. So, we'll see what he can do with that or how bad he fails with it, but he's got an uphill battle there in that one. I will say this, he will beat out Justin Fields. He is better than Justin Fields.
Dude, what are we doing there over with the Jets? Like they signed what is DeMario Davis doing at the end of his career signing with the Jets? Like what?
He's collecting a check, man. Let's be real.
Aaron Glenn is totally just like, we're gonna get these guys to win 7 games and I'm gonna keep my job, and that's all I care about.
They're reportedly also in the market for Carson Wentz as well. So they're trying to accumulate what would be one of the more hilarious quarterback rooms of all time, trying to outdo what the Browns did going into the 2025 season. So
Woody Johnson, worst
AFC
owner.
East.
He remains awful.
Unbelievable. Jeff Tissel, best of luck to the 49er players on IR crew, the Stafford MVP or bust crew, and the other team, go Hawks. Little tongue-in-cheek.
The other team.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's brutal.
Yeah.
Garth Knight back in. Brock Mayfield is awesome. I can't believe Mike left the Atlantic for the Pacific Brock.
So much Brock.
That's a lot of Brock. I don't. Yeah, that's the other thing is I don't know how Brock and Mike Evans pair up. I mean,
seems like he wanted it. Seems like it was kind of handpicked by Mike Evans.
I guess, man. What were the other options and what was he getting paid? Is it really handpicked or is it he just took the most money from the team that was willing to pay it? I mean, come on.
Well, there was a report someone offered him $27 million, so that's how bad he wanted to go and play with Brock Purdy. Who could blame him, especially alongside
if it's
Deebo
the Titans?
Samuel?
If it's the Titans offering you that,
Yeah,
are you gonna? Do you want to go play with like a second-year quarterback? And
He was offered 27 mil like I was offered 10 mil. Come on, stop. There's 0% chance.
Matty Plowden dropping off a free agency boysenberry for the boys.
go! Thank you, Matthew.
Shout out to Matt. Appreciate you, brother. Good evening, guys, says Matt. Good to see and hear from you. Great creators from all the teams and the ringleader Z-Bot for the great questions. What's up, Jake and Ramley? Shout out to Brando and his followers for the respect when I've been in his chats. Go Rams. I love to see all of the homage paid to the other channels. In fact, I've seen it even over on my channel. I absolutely love it. You guys, not only is this the best division, but we have the best division roundtable.
Hands down.
I don't want to say fan base, but supporters. You guys are the absolute best. Maddie, you are well included in that, so we appreciate it. I love to see everybody showing love. Absolutely
it's so
awesome.
dope. It's
It really
so
is.
cool.
It really is. It's the
A
coolest.
lot of cross-pollination.
Matthew's been a member of my channel for like 55 months.
Unreal.
Like he's great.
And here's the thing
Sounds
too,
awesome.
Alex
Thank you, Matthew.
and Roger, they're always on my streams, man. Shout out to the Rams fans, and we do got some Seahawks fans there too. Shout out to them.
Hell
It's incredible. You guys show love all over the place. So does Danny B, who's saying, howdy, fellas. It sucks losing some good players to free agency, but the meat and potatoes of the team is still there. Go Hawks. And that's kind of the takeaway I feel like you had, Brando. You were fine seeing the other guys who left based on the money they were paid. And it seems like you're kind of fine with the way things have gone down here.
Yeah, I think you've got the means to be able to overcome this. You're pretty much returning almost every starter on both sides of the ball besides this. Even Woolen wasn't really a full starter. He was out there a lot, but Job was more of a starter than he was. So when you're talking about these losses, you're just kind of going, well, okay, Walker, who split the load with Charbonnet, and then you've got Joe Woolen, who split the load with Kobe Bryant hurts for sure, but you even have Tayakata, who kind of outperformed Kobe Bryant when he filled in for him last year when he was injured. So it's all of them. You're going to go, yeah, I'm not overpaying, and I've got an answer to be able to fill in for what I'm losing. I can deal with that.
Crowherd, Rams fan since 1979. I can't believe how amazingly knowledgeable all of these content creators are. Best division in the league. And as far as you all go, you are easily the best, including Z-Bot. Wow.
Oh, dude,
thanks, Crowherd.
Hey,
Appreciate it.
thank you for that,
you,
Crowherd. You're awesome,
Crowherd.
man.
Hey,
So
different sport, and I hate to derail it, but how the hell did Bam Abadeo?
I was
just
gonna
score
say.
83
Oh yeah, I was
freaking
seeing that in
points?
chat. Really.
Are you kidding?
Somebody passed Kobe in the modern era. That's
83
insane.
points.
No
Bam
one's
You
Adebayo?
watch this basketball
Yeah.
now? That's just it's bring it down and hurl it up. Bring it down and hurl it up. Bring it down and hurl it up.
I heard he had over 20, and I didn't look at the box score, so you'd have to confirm this. He had over 23 point shots. Isn't this the power forward center, Bam?
Yeah. That's
Why is he
crazy.
shooting
That's-
threes 20? If he didn't shoot that many threes, he would have had Wilt Chamberlain's record.
Well, wait a
He
minute.
had
Wait a minute.
31 in the first.
He went 36 of 43 at the free throw line. He shot 43
Oh,
free
come
throws.
on.
Oh wow! I just noticed
Come
that too.
on.
What?
And they say the NBA is soft.
Oh,
The
good
guy
God.
shot 43 free throws.
I
I've
literally
never
can't
seen-
watch the NBA. Like, I love the
I can't
Lakers.
either.
I
It's this
can't
for this
watch the
reason.
NBA.
Yeah, I can't either. You're going to watch the highlights on it. It's just going to be him just chucking from 35 feet away. And it's like, and it went down. It went out. Well, you were hot. That was great. It's not going to be like passing across the board, in a timely rhythm thing. It's going to be him with like a
43
throw and like guy in the hand and face and he chucks it
Wait, so
with some free throws in between.
This was just regulation?
That's
This was
wild.
no overtime?
I mean, they were playing the Wizards too, though. So
Yeah, I mean,
How do you shoot 43 free throws? How is it even possible? That means he had to have gotten fouled, 20 times?
Because if you get blown on in the NBA, it's a foul.
he shot 20.
All you got to do is do the soccer flop motion.
Them.
You just do the soccer flop and you get the call. Just
Why is
And
Bam
43.
Adebayo shooting 22 threes? That's
Dude.
not his game.
Any Wizards fan that was watching this all the way through, I mean, I give you credit.
Dude, that
So there were 59 free throws from Miami and only 29 for the
that
Wizards.
is unbelievable.
What is that foul discrepancy?
officials with some money on the line right there.
That is insane. Dylan Sosa. Yo boys lucky there's no more Conehead Selly.
Huh?
Who's
Mondre
that?
Lenore will be happy not to see him anymore. He's not going to get any flipped anymore.
The Conehead? I don't know if I know the Conehead.
Yeah, that's Kenneth Walker.
Oh, okay. All right. I like it. Alex Double X. Monty Ossenfort literally waited for Mike to end stream because he was not having a good time. Signborn and Samalo like 20 minutes after. So you were live, nothing happened, then you end, and then it all happens.
I went live after the Minshew signing. I crashed out. I was getting crazy, and shortly after, the second half was a little bit better for the Cardinals than the first half for sure.
Yeah, you tuned in to have to break that breaking news on Gardner Minshew, and then all the rest happens, and you're not there. It's the story of my life. Just my opinion. Shaheed is worth it just to get it at the 35-yard line every drive. It's almost the same as a penalty. McVay does it every time because he is terrified. You alluded to that earlier, Brando. You're getting more than just a wide receiver out of that 17 a year. You're getting a real
That's a good
explosive special teams player. I mean, right off the bat, that's what he was for your Hawks as soon as they signed him at the trade deadline.
3 returns for touchdowns in the very short time that he was with us. And this is a really good point here by just my opinion, and not just for the reference to the Rams, which it was kind of true. They're trying to rectify it this offseason, but it's true of the fact that you have a lot of teams that are not necessarily very good across the sport, and they start to just kick it in the end zone. And this 35-yard line thing has really flipped things off, because if you've got an offense that's more about moving the chains and it's always going to get a couple first downs, that's going to be the kind of offense that if it's put at the 35-yard line constantly is going to go get those 3 points, especially, if you have kind of like a really good field goal kicker like we do. So part of the reason why when you look back to last season and so many successful, consistent drives, it was on the back of the fact that you could always have that field position in the right place. And that 35-yard line thing doesn't get counted on the returner's yards, but it does count in the books.
I like that signing too. You're looking at the receiver market right now and just how explosive that's gotten. It feels like 17 million for a dual threat guy like that. It definitely seems like the Seahawks got a good one there, not only at the trade deadline, but being able to extend him as well for the amount of money they did. We got Daniel coming in saying payback for Raiders overpaying Linderbaum. League standard is up to last guy by 1 to 2 million. Raiders broke protocol by 8 million. Ravens said we can break too. Dude, it was unbelievable. Connor McGovern for the Bills signed. He became the fourth highest, or at the time he was the third highest paid center just a few days prior at 13 million a year. And literally 48 hours later, Linderbaum doubled a contract that was signed 2 days prior. And I'm crazy.
I mean,
yeah,
he's
they
a
got
really good player.
19 million was Creed Humphrey's deal, and then this is 27. I mean, I've never seen a jump like that before in a position ever at one position
That's
like
nuts.
that.
Well, how about the irony there, though, that you
Miles
get their
Garrett,
best
right?
guy? Oh yeah, maybe Garrett, but still, this amount of money up, and the fact that he's from Baltimore, right? With all this going,
Linderbaum's
down,
not the center of not this Garrett of centers either.
No, he's a very good center, but I do think he's getting overrated here.
A lot of money. We got Matty Plowden back in. I'll bet Snead is on the phone. Where are we? Oh, what happened? Daniel. Wow, this is glitching now. I'm not even touching anything. I don't know what's going on.
Oh
here.
boy.
Wow.
The Ravens have hired. They've sent their hackers at us.
They're getting pissed.
Yeah. Shut him down.
We've rescinded that super chat. No, I'm just kidding.
And now we're putting it back on the table. Matty Plowden. I'll bet Snead is on the phone with Davis right now. Here we go with the F them picks again. Les needs a wheelbarrow to tote them balls around. Wow.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams were interested. I know Jared Verse was trying to recruit him at one point, but like he and Byron Young are buds, so I don't know if he realizes what that ultimately means. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up in the NFC West. I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up with the Niners, the Seahawks, the Rams. I wouldn't be surprised if he went to Arizona either. I think when things like this happen, like, and I saw a tweet like during the show, it popped up, and I think it makes a lot of sense. Nobody knows what's going on right now. This changes everything. There are a lot of teams that pivoted to Rashawn Gary or what have you because this guy was off the table, and now he's not anymore. And I know the Cowboys are, they're going to stay in their lane and stick with Gary, but not every team is going to do that. I think this is going to open up a big can of worms here, and the Raiders might even try to hold back here and not try. They might try to wait until we're talking about the draft and maybe, try to trade him and move up that second pick that they have. You know what I mean? Like that, I could see that. I don't know though. It does change a lot. Like this isn't just like it's going to have a ripple effect, and I'm very interested to see what it is. I think we all know the first thing is no one's going to want to trade with the Ravens. So good luck with your usual trade downs and trade ups in the draft. I think teams might even not trade with them just to spite them at this point because it's not a good look. And like Brandon said, it's very unprofessional.
Max Crosby's agent has weighed in. Max continues to be on track in his recovery, and if anything, is ahead of schedule, according to his surgeon. So the plot thickens here.
He just had surgery in January, by the way, on this failed physical crap. He just had surgery in January. What physical are you putting him under?
Nobody's buying this. Nobody's buying this. Jake, you said it. I cannot wait to see what the ripple effects of this ends up being.
Nuts.
Propa. I remember when Wilt dropped 100 points in a game. I think it was the same year the Cardinals won the Super Bowl. Oh. That photo's in black and white, by the way, Mike. That photo's there's no footage. There's no footage of Wilt dropping that 100-point game.
Neither the Cardinals championship.
Oh boy. Misfit.
Oh man.
It was a
I can't help myself,
fortuitous
Mike. I'm sorry.
83 points. Wow. Well, I guess maybe we need to start an NBA roundtable. Yeah, unbelievable craziness. We had an 83-point game drop on us. We had a trade get rescinded, all in the span of an hour and 15 minutes here on the NFC West Roundtable. Awesome show, recapping what has been a wild free agency period over the last 48 hours, and we can't wait to be back with you next week when we recap all the other craziness that goes down between now and then. But in the meantime, that's going to do it for us tonight. For Jesse, Brando, Jake, and Mike, I'm your host, Z-Bot. Thanks so much, as always, for tuning into the NFC West Roundtable, and we'll see you on the next.
Roundtable Sports Network is your one-stop shop for all things NFL, with daily live shows covering all 8 divisions in the league, hosted by the best content creators on the web, all on one network. Catch the AFC East live every Monday at 7 p.m. and on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. The AFC West Roundtable live Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. The AFC North Roundtable live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. The AFC South Roundtable live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. The NFC East Roundtable live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. The NFC West Roundtable live at 9 p.m. on Tuesday nights. The NFC North Roundtable is at 6 p.m. on Wednesdays, and the NFC South Roundtable is live Tuesdays at 8 p.m. EST. And of course, fourth and forever, the flagship show of Roundtable Sports Network covering all things NFL at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Roundtable Sports YouTube channel. Real coverage, real fans.